Good morning. It is 10:30 a.m. It is Sunday, and that means it is time for Sunday Club. Sunday Club is a weekly live stream where each week we look at some Ruby on Rails coding and we work on an application together. And what that application does is it allows users to sign up. It asks them for, at the moment, a YouTube channel ID. And then it goes up and grabs all of those videos and makes a little web page full of all those videos. And kind of makes a little mini website for a YouTube channel. And what we kind of do each week is look at a specific aspects of like a gem or Ruby on Rails in general, or just something that we might be interested in. Recently, we've been looking at Tailwind CSS, and we just kind of live stream pretty loosely around it for a little while, and hopefully it's useful for people. Now, normally in this intro, I would say that one day what we want to do is have the app integrate with Twitch so that we can build Twitch videos into the little websites as well. And that is happening this week because I've said it for however long this channel has existed. Let's get into it. I don't have any follow-up other than to say I have done no prep for this. Shockingly, anyone who watches regularly will know that the level of prep is always minimal. But one thing to note is that I'm not actually sure that this is possible. Like, I think Twitch has an API. I'm pretty sure the domain model is really different from YouTube. I think they work really differently. I don't know what's involved in this. So we're not just going to implement something. We're going to have to work out if what we want to do is implementable. If it's not, how could we work around it? This is kind of like a bit more of a normal exploration rather than just an implementation of something we already know how it works. Like, for example, on the YouTube side, the webhook stuff wasn't quite as solidly documented as we wanted. And so we talked about having to poll for those things. Like, what's the story about that kind of thing on Twitch? I don't think all the videos are persistent for the same periods. What does that mean? What can we get? What can we link to? What can we rely on? And I don't know a lot about Twitch either. So we're just going to go and explore, going to find out, and then hopefully write some code around it. Let's just dive right in. Because we've got no other follow-up, because let's just do it. Okay, so let's just Google straight up Twitch API. This is the level we're starting at. I don't want to give anyone any false expectations that we know what is about to happen. I have looked at these docs before, but not read them, like just skimmed them. So I'm aware that like something is possible. And I'm really, like, if I'm honest, I'm kind of hoping that there's like a really nice gem like there was for the YouTube one, which abstracts a lot this way. So we can kind of look at it, but not have to get too deep. But we can dive in if we need to. Okay, so they have a Twitch developer console where we can register an application, enter an app name and your OAuth redirect URI where your users are redirected after being authorized, and select an app category. Click create, and the app is created and listed on the dashboard as one of your registered apps. Click manage to see the client ID. Okay, so this is like a kind of normal, like, register your application. You might have done this if you've done stuff for, like, I think Twitter does this and Facebook used to do this. I haven't used Facebook in a long time, but, like, tell us about your application. Here's all the credentials you need. Great, and then you can kind of manage those through some sort of dashboard. If you remember with Google. Google has like a full API dashboard for all of the Google services. So you don't necessarily go into YouTube to manage that. You actually go to like a dedicated Google space where that takes place. And for Google Maps, YouTube, everything. Whereas for Twitch, obviously, they've just got their own place. So it makes sense. But I'm going to keep going with the docs. I'm not going to dive into doing any of these stuff. And I'm going to... I've got Twitch open in another tab over here. So what we might do is, sorry, I've got a hay fever. Is just keep going with this, and then kind of pull pull Twitch over as we get to that stuff. Okay, so this request searches to see if a seagull is live. Okay. This example uses a small copy and pasting on the terminal, replacing the sample client ID with your client ID. So this is kind of where I'm just in that first line there where I'm interested. So I am a very casual Twitch user, and this is what I mentioned when this interesting notion of YouTube and Twitch having different domain models. So Twitch, I think we would care a lot more about if someone is live right now. Whereas I think when we did live streams on the YouTube one, my memory is that they just came in as normal videos. They just get put into the stream. I think whether they were live right now or previous recordings of live videos, I think we just had them in the feed immediately. So this concept of like, is this channel live, is not something that we bumped into. So I'm going to bump the font size up. So this response shows the channel is live. So is live is true. And what are we getting back? We're getting back the thumbnail URL. And what do we do with that? So that doesn't give us language, display name, game ID. Okay. That's presumably the ID of the channel. Because each individual stream doesn't have its own ID, I think. I think it's just the channel that has the ID. Thumbnail URL, title, and when it started. Okay. Description of the response fields. Okay, so let's do introduction. Oh, that is literally all of that. Okay, what's next? Hello. Hello, good morning, and I'm really glad that you are on Twitch because you might be able to help us with the Twitch side of things. So guide. Most of the API endpoints are used to retrieve information to use query parameters in the case of multi. Okay, so data models. With the Twitch, so this is like our philosophy. So data models. With the Twitch API, our philosophy for responses is to remove extraneous data, return consistent structures, and simplify responses to a single layer. While simplifying the data models, we observe a lot of overlap between users and channel objects. As a result, we combine them into the user object. Okay. Okay. Rate limits, we're not going to bump into any rate limits. I'm just going to skip over that. Well, again, as we did with the YouTube thing, it is something you want to consider if you want to get super popular, but we're going to make about one request an hour at this rate. Okay. Okay, so we're already at, so this is EventSub. So we're already at them mentioning EventSub. So this is already really different to the YouTube experience that we had, where the webhook information essentially was hard to, it was borderline hard to find. Like they really defaulted to just giving you the API docs weren't great. In the guide for Twitch, we're already mentioning sign up for the it's kind of the push webhook, whatever you want to call it. What did YouTube actually called it? Push notifications, which is weird because I associate that terminology elsewhere. But that kind of webhook thing where it's like tell EventSub allows developers to subscribe to events and receive notifications over many different transports, webhooks, WebSockets, etc. All events and payloads have been designed to be transport agnostic. Choosing webhooks over WebSockets or vice versa won't change the events available to you or how those events behave. If a new event type is added to EventSub, it is added to all transports simultaneously. So this is already way more. It tells you a lot about the third-party service just by the fact that that's there for you straight away. And I'm guessing, obviously, if things were about real-time streaming and hey, this channel is now online, we really care about that. And on YouTube, that was harder to get a new video being added. It was available, and you can go back and look at the PubSub Hubbub stream, but I did not enjoy the developer experience of this. Whereas this is like front and center. This is how to get this done. I'm just skimming through the event. I'm presuming it's just like, hey, subscribe. Here's a URL. Hit me with webhooks at this path, or WebSocket, same thing. Just all the details it needs. Authentication. Okay, we're just gonna skip over this for now. Okay, that's all really kind of straightforward. What I'm interested in then is Twitch API, what's popular? Get started, give feedback. Okay. Twitch API reference. Okay. What is different about the API? So model channel. So this is what we can do in our API resource. I think what we care most about initially is the channel, I would assume. So get channel information, modify channel information, get... Okay, so that's the actual channel. We want channel points. Don't think we care about that. Clips, right. I think clips might be what we care about. Create a clip programmatically. Get clip information ID. This returns both an ID and edit URL for the new clip. Okay, so this is where I'm a little bit out. So my understanding of Twitch might be way off, but basically the way I think it works is the channel is persistent. You stream on the channel, and you then people, or you the channel creator, or people watching the channel can then make clips of the content of those streams. Those streams remain persistent for a period of time to watch later. That period is variable, and after that period, they can then be gone. However, the clips remain persistent. That's what I think is the case, and how the persistent storage in Twitch works. I don't know if that's the case, but we can kind of examine that as we go. I don't know what some of these other things are, like entitlements and rewards and things like that. For some, okay, this is super useful. Okay, so this is on the chat. For some channels, you need to be subscribed, I assume, in order to clip. Okay, great. So that's like amazing. So you have to. I'm presuming potentially you have to pay to subscribe to some of them or all of them. Sorry, I'm just asking these really, really basic questions. Yeah, okay. So maybe there's like a reward, like you give them something in reward. Okay, and then. Only sub to the channel. Okay, and so when we're then... Okay, so maybe we need to draw a diagram of this, because if we were to ask a channel on Twitch for information for the Sunday Club app, so let's say like the Sunday Club channel that we're watching now, we have a YouTube channel and a Sunday Club channel. The YouTube channel is just a series of persistent videos that can sit there forever. What do we want to ask the Twitch API integration? Do we just want to ask, is this channel live right now? And if it is, show that video at the top of the stream of previous videos? Or do we want to ask it that, are you live right now? Do you have any recent available streams to show us? I don't know, like I'm presuming they're different to clips. And do you have any clips to show us? But I don't know if a channel can have clips. I think, do only users have clips? I'm not sure about that. Okay, so that's what we're looking for in this documentation. And how long is this list? Holy heck, is this list all? No, okay, it's just all the fields. Okay, so stream subscriptions, tags, users get user follow. So they said they ended up chucking a bunch of stuff in user. Get user extensions, get videos. Get videos information by video ID, user ID, game ID. Oh, sorry, I thought that was on users. So videos, get videos. Videos, get webhook subscription. Okay, this is going to sound really stupid. What's a video? Like, is that the same as a clip? Or is that the same as a recent stream? Is there like something that I'm missing in... I'm just going to look. I've skipped straight to the reference. That's poor form. I should have actually read the docs. Presumably they do explain some of this stuff. So that's poor form up for me. I just jumped in because I had loads of questions. You can embed Twitch functionality in your website in 3 ways. Embedding everything explains how to embed both chat and player for live content in... I'm almost sure that videos are the broadcast. Amazing. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so videos are our broadcasts. And they're saved. Oh, okay, so you think that if we ask for a video that is live and then it stops being live, we would still be returned the same video for a period of time afterwards with that using the ID? So like video 123 would be live. Then we would say, hey, give me video 123. We would still get the same content, but it would just no longer be, it would be like is live false, presumably. Okay, so embedding everything explains how to embed both chat. I'm just gonna make this font bigger. How to embed both chat and player for live content in one iframe. This includes the functionality for follow, subscribe, and login. Also supports playing video on demand content. Embedding chat explains additional options for embedding only chat. Embedding video and clips explains additional options for embedding only player, including clips content. Right, I think this might be what we're interested in. Embedded experiences requirement. Your use of any Twitch embeddable experience must comply with the requirements below. Oh, I think we're going to get legal here. Domains that use Twitch must use SSL. Minimum height and width. Oh, okay, that all seems fine. We're not gonna be in breach of that. Okay, so I'm gonna explore this one: embedding video and clips. You can embed live streams, video on demand, and clips in your website. Embedded video windows must be at least this size. There are 3 types of videos on demand. Okay, I should have read this first. Sorry. Past broadcasts, highlights, and uploads. These are video on demands. Okay. Uploads are external videos that are added to Twitch using the Video Uploads API or the Video Manager. Oh, I didn't even know you could do that on Twitch. Okay, we're already learning loads. This guide discusses 3 techniques for embedding video and clips. Embedding live streams in a non-interactive frame, embedding them in an interactive frame, and embedding clips in a non-interactive frame. Okay. Oh, okay. This is interesting. Okay, so they're giving us... So non-interactive inline frames for video for live streams and VODs. So this is pretty straightforward. This is just your... I mean, we could presumably put this stream that's happening now in the app just by putting in an iframe. Okay. And presumably if the stream is not live, it just shows you some sort of holding pattern or whatever. And so what we could do is you could have a request go off to look at the response we were getting earlier, which has that is live flag as true or false. And then we could say if it's true, then show this iframe and basically just offload like we do with the YouTube videos. All we show is actually just their embedded player. So then we could say if it's live, show the embed via iframe, and if it's not, don't. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. That's just an iframe show or hide using a channel name, using a video ID, using a collection ID. Okay, so even then we would still, even if we stored a collection of video IDs, we could still use this mechanism to actually show them. I can't remember how we do that for YouTube. Did we have to put in... I can't even remember how that... What did we do to show a video? Jenny, I swear my memory of everything we've done here just leaves me every week. So we show a video. We channels show. Okay, so do we not? We don't even embed them. I don't think I even do that. We just show the thumbnail. So how do you play them? We don't play them on the app. I genuinely don't think that's ever even occurred to me. We just show them. Okay, amazing. Okay, we just show them. Okay, we can swap out for an iframe or something. That's good. Oh, amazing. Okay, good. Good morning. Good morning. I used Simulus on a work project after being inspired by your stream 2 weeks ago. Amazing. Well, I'm glad. I hope it works out. I genuinely hope it works out, and I am very excited and accept no responsibility if it breaks. Hang on, my music just got louder for some reason. What just happened? Okay, I think the music app may have just crashed or something in the background. Just gonna check what happened there. I'm not really sure what's going on with the music happening. Bear with me just a second. Sorry, this is slightly annoying because I want to look at okay, something very strange has happened there. Sorry, I'm just looking. Yeah, okay, something definitely weird is going on with the music. Okay, I'm just turning that off. Okay, I think we'll have to go musicless for now. Okay, fair enough. It was only a fairly simple use case, but it was a good opportunity to pick it up. I'll read about reflex too. Yeah, I'm so excited that we, people are discovering this. Well, I'll mention later what we're hoping to do with the channel. Let's keep going. Okay, cool. So interactive frames for live streams of video doing. Okay, so this is still just this is just the fancier version of that embed, I would imagine. So rather than just sticking in an iframe, you then stick in some JavaScript and some kind of hooks, some DOM hooks for that JavaScript to hook onto, and then it can do all of its fancy work to render out all of its cool stuff. Okay, so this is just the final result, which is all good. Oh, and you can do loads of cool stuff to it. And it's got, I'm kind of skipping over this. If this is stuff that you're interested in, I'm sure you can dive in. If you used embeds like that before, where you just pop a bit of JavaScript in and let the third-party service go nuts, they usually give you hooks that you can mess around with, like build cool stuff, which we can come back to actually if we're interested in. Non-interactive iframes for clips. Embedding a clip. So embedding a clip is different than embedding a live stream or video on demand. The embedded clips player uses a different set of query parameters and does not support the JavaScript interactive embed. Okay, so a clip's more... Does that mean they're kind of more like the YouTube videos? They're literally just a quote-unquote dumb video rather than like fancy smart stuff, I'm assuming. A chat and all that other interactivity that you get with those streams. Okay, that all kind of makes sense. Everything, chat, video, and clips. Yeah, where did we start? We started here. Embedded experience, providing feedback. Okay, so I think the question I'm interested in answering is, so I'm browsing around really quickly. I'm trying to answer this while I'm talking. Is are we asking Twitch for so we can ask it if the channel is live or not now? Do we then ask it for a list of clips, do we think, or just list of videos? I might skip that question and answer what I mentioned previously, which is like, do we think that it might be worth taking a look at a gem to see if there is like an existing gem for this that might kind of guide us in its docs rather than just have, so Twitch Rails gem, Ruby Twitch API, Twitch RB. a Reddit thread that begins with Ruby on Rails developers rejoice. That's when you know. That's when you know it's going to be good. So this is Ruby Twitch API. And what did we look at last time? We looked at like Ruby Toolbox, I think, or Rails Toolbox. Yeah, and in here. So if we look in here for Twitch, this is what we've done previously, and it's been pretty useful. Okay. So Twitch. OmniAuth, Twitch API, Twitch chat, Kappa again. Okay, so nowhere near as much popularity as the YouTube stuff. Oh my god, Justin TV, I think, is what Twitch was before it was Twitch, wasn't it? That one's an old school one. Okay, so there's nothing in here that's hugely leaping out as like a wildly popular one. So let's take a look at no release in over 3 years, low commit activity in 3 years. But that's just the OmniAuth. That's just the OmniAuth. I say just. I mean, that's a really helpful thing to have. But let's go and see what this one does. Is it just a wrapper? Yes, this was pretty heavily worked on. Or downloaded, sorry, in 2015, 2016. We can just jump to the GitHub repo for this. Or is that what I was already on? Twitch-RB. Okay, this one. So get URL for your application. authenticate and get access token. This is done on your redirect URL. So this is your can you do stuff on the Twitch API? You can now use your token. So you've got a token. Calls will return a hash with body for content and response. So Twitch user, Twitch teams, Twitch team, Twitch channel, Twitch your channel. I'm looking. What I'm actually looking at, I'm just gonna make this font a bit bigger again. Is like, because my knowledge of the domain model for Twitch isn't great, I'm just looking to see like what a gem has bothered to expose as a public API, just so that I'm like, oh, okay, that's the thing. So channel, like, I don't know what channel panels is. So that's interesting. Again, because this hasn't been worked on in a little while, maybe that's no longer a thing, but it's interesting to it's actually interesting to look at an API for something that I don't really know a lot about. Like usually when you're working on something, you've used the third party, or at least have, what your use case is. Here we're literally finding out what our use case is as we read the docs. Channel panels are the boxes with the info below the stream. Oh, okay. So I don't actually use the Twitch UI because mine comes through OBS. So, and then I use the app. So I think I'm like the worst. I'm like the worst Twitch user. I just, too casual. Okay. So, but I have seen some of that. So I'm just, if we load Twitch up. So I'm really glad we've got someone who uses it on the thing. Any of the famous channels. Okay. So this is Twitch. So I can close this because that's just like people I follow and stuff. So anyone who's famous on here. So this has got 8,000 viewers. So let's not put Grand Theft Auto on because that's probably got hugely offensive stuff. Is there just like normal football? Here we go. This person's got 4,000 viewers. This person's playing football. How offensive can it be? That's dangerous. Okay, so there's the chat there. There's a stream going on here. And then, okay, there's loads of stuff. Okay. I'm assuming this is what we're referring to when we're talking about panels and things like that. I'm not sure, but okay. So it's interesting that that's available via the API as well. Yep, those are channel panels. Okay, thank you so much for kind of guiding us around. Okay, so these are channel panels, which I love. I love the channel panel. Great. Okay, so what else have we got going on through Twitch following for load? So that's another interesting idea, is like we put in a subscribe system, whereas Twitch has following and being followed. And again, if you're working on a third party where your domain model might not fit with theirs, do you well, I guess a couple of things jump to mind about an API integration is like, are you obliged to use their terminology because of some like terms and conditions thing? Also, it's what their users understand. So if you are allowed to follow through your application, how do you do that? But then also, how do you differentiate that from your own applications like subscribe concept? Okay, so it's because there are interactive panels. For example, some panels show the IP address location so you can see where people are watching you. Okay, so different people are different. Okay, that's pretty cool. So that's all, and this is all specific to Twitch. Okay, so then stream of this person, and then streams. Just get streams. Okay. Your featured streams, your followed streams. Okay, so that's interesting. So this is kind of what I was imagining the API to look like. But when we went to the reference earlier, where was the reference earlier? Twitch API reference. Okay. Get the channel, get streams, get information about active streams. Streams are returned by sorting the current and reviewers in descending order. Okay, so that is... So get streams is different to get videos. Interesting. Get video information by video ID. And they have stream ID null on this one. So I'm not 100% sure what's the difference between a stream and a video. It's also interesting... that when you run a massive service like this, you don't really need to, it doesn't really seem to need to explain what those things are in its docs. Video might be a VOD. Okay. Which is like a watch later thing. And the streams are real time. Okay. Because when you go to this, I'm just comparing it to something like boring, like Stripe. The Stripe docs really kind of lead you on a use case journey a lot of the time. So they'll be like, hey, let's say you run a shop and you have products and the products have variants and then you want to do X, Y, and Z with shipping and things like that. They'll like, as well as the reference and the docs, there'll also be like use case stories built in. So it's interesting that, I mean, maybe I'm just not seeing them and they are here, but that's an interesting like quirk of what you feel the developers using your service probably already know or need to know. But like I said, it's weird to be trying to integrate with something you don't really know about. Okay, so I'm kind of wondering if we should just dive in a little bit, maybe like figure it out on the fly. Yeah, like, so can we, what does the OmniAuth Twitch one give us? Let's go to the, I am refusing to comment on that. This in the chat. Stripe stocks are amazing. Twitch is owned by Amazon. Well, I'm sure we've all spent time in Amazon console docs and all of the AWS stuff, and those docs are unique. To be fair, those docs are usually pretty comprehensive. I just don't understand what they're saying. They're just full of words. So I don't think this is related to the API it's referencing. Okay, so okay, so I think it's the same thing. The thing is the time. Oh, this is okay. This is a really interesting comment. Okay, so I think it's the same thing. The thing is the time. So the object is a stream when it's live and it becomes a video when the stream finishes, and Twitch processes the stream and saves it as a video. If you open a Twitch channel, you can go to the page of videos and it will show you the last streams, which were streams when they were happening, but which are now videos since they already happened. That is amazing. Like, that is a really good description. And I think that sounds about right. And there was a comment in here about the overlap between some of the models initially. I can't remember where that was. It was like really early on here, and it said basically just like that there's overlap between these things. That was like overview. Oh man, I've already lost in this thing. Okay, that's amazing. And also that's not crazy. I guess that's not crazy. I suppose I would want more. Yeah, this is super interesting because like we're building a site that has a history of YouTube videos, and the domain model for Twitch is so different. But let's say that you then had another third-party streaming service that was like, we only do live streaming. We don't ever archive anything. Okay, how would you handle that? Then you've got the other extreme, which is like, oh, we archive them, but their availability is intermittent. Like, your responsibility as the service, which is amalgamating all of the third parties, is to build your model around theirs, which is painful. Oh, and here's another use case we'd need to deal with. Presumably, one of the things that I think I looked at when the option, when I started doing this channel, was that you can have your Twitch videos then just moved to YouTube, either through Twitch officially or to through some third-party service. I can't remember what it was. But that's an interesting concept where you then might have the Twitch stream has moved from one service to the other. And what do you then actually represent on like the Sunday Club app when you've got the same piece of content but is now across two different services, but only until it gets removed from one. Super interesting. Right, that is super interesting. Let's keep going. Let's dive in. Let's see if we can. I'm just looking at this auth app because I was kind of looking for a quick way just to get a key and go. So this is for people to be able to log in with Twitch, I would assume. And is there a device version of this? Like, I don't know if you remember when we looked at Rivet, which I now remember the name of, because for the first ages of these, I couldn't remember. When you sign in here, oh, you now don't have the option. Initially, when you signed in here, I think you could sign in with YouTube and potentially with Twitch as well. I can't remember. Did they support? Just looking to see how they handled this. This concept of constantly persistent versus ephemeral videos. Let's see what they say on here. So live streaming, auto publish, manage your videos. You can't click through. Let's go into some of their like demo. Here we go. No, you have to request a demo. But they must have our customers and partners. Okay, so let's go look at Lewis. Let's go and look at this one. Unbox Therapy uses this service. So what I'm looking at is there a mixture of YouTube and Twitch on this on this video channel? Because I'd be interested to know if they're showing like, are all of these YouTube, or do you not know? Oh, okay. They just obfuscate away these all look like YouTube videos, to be honest. Okay. Maybe it doesn't support Twitch anymore because they realize this is a pain in the bum. Okay. That's just a random thing. Okay, let's go. Let's try and dive in. So do we want to try and use this gem just to give us some speed? And I mean, I'm assuming this is still working. How recent is the last issue? Okay, lack of access token authorization. Okay, might not work anymore. Twitch.auth cannot provide an app token because the response code isn't changeable from authorization code to client credentials, and a reader is forced to be supplied. Okay, so I think auth is broken in here. Yeah, I think from like 2017 Twitch. Oh, so someone has forked it and done some extra work to bring it up to date. No, I think we might have to go and do our own. That's pretty straightforward though. Right, let's go back to the start. Right, we've explored our domain model a bit. We don't really know what that's going to look like, but let's go and do what it tells us. Okay, so in addition to OAuth, Twitch supports OIDC, OpenID Connect. For more secure OAuth2 flow, OIDC tokens are compatible with services. But see, I get a bit lost in all of these things. I'm not 100% sure I've ever actually built an OAuth flow from end to end myself. I think I've almost always used a gem or something like that. Mainly because every time I've read it, it seems like a massive pain in the bum. Let's register. Oh, okay. I thought it was going to take me to how to register. To make an application that uses the Twitch API, you first need to register on the Twitch developer site. When creating this app into your redirect URI, you can provide several redirect URIs, for example, if you wish to use the same client for different environments. Once you create a developer application, you assign a client ID. Some auth flows also require a client secret, which you can generate on the same page as the client ID. Okay, so this is hopefully the same as the... Oh, okay, right. Okay, this would be amazing. So some auth again, if we could just get a client ID, can we just do some reads then? Client IDs are public and be shared. Great, just like we had for the YouTube one, we had a key that would let us read stuff, and then we would have to do the OAuth flow. I think we might not have to bother with the OAuth flow if we could just get public stuff. Great. Okay, so let's go. I'm going to grab this link. I'm just going to go and look on my other screen about what it's going to ask for. Twitch developer wants to access your account. Okay, I'm just doing this on the other screen in case it's like puts all of my crazy secret personal information, which I don't have in Twitch, so I don't know why I'm doing that. Okay, so this is what it's asking. Register an application that Twitch uses the Twitch API. Okay, so the name of the application is going to be called Sunday Club. Category. Website integration, I guess. Application integration. Website integration. Parking meters. We don't have. I don't know that this is so American. I don't know if that's a parking meter or not. This is okay. It was. When testing locally, you can set this to localized. Okay, cool. Do we have to assign the port number there? Okay, create. Okay, sorry, you must have two-factor. I didn't do any prep for this, so I've got to go and turn two-factor auth on live on the stream. So you must have two-factor enabled to merge things. Okay, quickly, security and privacy. Set up two-factor auth, enabled to FA, and I have to send it to my phone. Call security. I'm really hoping I'm not putting my phone number on the screen. I've sent you a code. Hopefully they've sent me a code. Cool. Great. Sorry about this. Just setting up two-factor auth because we can't move forward without it, apparently. I'm just doing it on the other screen. And it's one-time password. Like, okay. So, sorry. It's just that I'm trying to do this and not move it onto the other screen. There we go. Okay, cool. There we go. Is it happening? Great. Save that. Place it there. Right. Okay. Enabled. Okay, I'm back on this one. I'm not a robot. Motorcycles. Crosswalks. There aren't any crosswalks in that. Okay, cool. Create. Amazing, we're done. So we have a developer application. Oh, is this going to be like the YouTube thing where I put it on the stream and then I have to go and change it all the time? Okay, fine. Just put it out there. Right, here's our client ID. Past authorization endpoints to identify application. You cannot change your application's client ID. Right, so can we now access stuff that doesn't need a secret? Types of token. Or do we have to have a token to do anything? I think it seems like we might have to have a token. So I'm just kind of reading this as we go through. User access token, ID token, app access token. Send the access token as a header. The header differs depending on which API you use. So we're going to use this new one, I guess. Revoking access tokens. Okay. So I have to have a token. I can't close. There's too many notifications. I can't just use my client ID. I can close that one as well. Space separate list of scopes. Okay, it's token. Grant refresh token. There's a new access token, refresh token, and scopes associated with. Oh, why isn't there a gem that handles this for me? Oh no. Okay, that's all fair enough. Getting tokens. Auth. So I'm not. I think I only want. App access tokens. Yeah, so this is the one I want. Server to server API request. The grant request below requires the client secret to app access tokens. Yeah, so I think this is the only one I need. Space separated list of scopes. Okay, so I'll grab this out. Hang on a second. And so when I then get this back, hang on, I should probably finish reading the docs before I just wander off. So what can I do with this, with the server to server one? There was a chart earlier. Oh man, I keep getting lost in these docs. Auth claim. Okay, what can I do with this? Anything? Okay. Okay, cool. As long as, and then this scope's available. These just user scope specified in a space specified string in the URL scope parameter and scope user edit user read email. That's going for the permissions you need. Right, here they are. Okay. Right, okay. But these are for, oh, come on, Max. Let's just get on with it. Let's just get on with it. Right. Immediately lost her. Oh, there we go. Okay. So let's grab this out and I'm just going to chuck it in here. So I'm paranoid. Like I'm just going to move this onto the other screen. Just like the notion of putting something where it says you must keep it confidential on the stream, doesn't it? So you want to generate a new secret? Yes. Okay. Okay, why don't she then doesn't show me the secret? I've been signed out of Twitch. Oh, is this because I enabled two-factor? Okay, sorry about this. Bear with me a second. Okay, so manage new secret. Are you sure you want to generate a new secret? Yes, great. Okay, I have a new secret. Okay, so I can put my secret in there. I can put my client in there. Okay. Sorry about this. I'm aware I'm just on the other screen for a second. Bear with me just a second. I'm just looking at the syntax. So, okay. So what happens if sorry, bear with me. Trying if we can use something visual for this. But then I've got a bunch of work stuff in here. Bear with me, bear with me. Something rather than terminal. Yeah, these are all, you can do all that stuff, so you can close those. Don't save that. Okay, so if we do that here. Okay, cool. Right, okay, so... Oh, shit. I did all of that to keep the secret off the stream and then just pulled it back. Oh, fuck it. Right, okay, that was a waste of... Shit. Right. Right. Okay, so... So we have a token, which you can then put in our request. Oh my god. I was like, I wonder if we can do it in like Postman or something. All right, fine. It didn't work out as I had expected. I think you can collapse these. I don't think they're always visible. In my defense, oh, they're just different headers along here, so they're not always, like, okay. That doesn't have to be visible, but I've just left it there. Right, fuck it. Okay, so we have an access token, but I didn't put any scopes in that because I'm a little bit confused as to the scopes I'm asking for or what I'm getting. I think this is potentially my lack of knowledge in writing OAuth as well. So we have an access token that we can attach as a header to do requests. Great. Oh, I tell you what will answer this is the gem we were looking at earlier. Presumably has this stuff in. And we'll wrap it somewhere in the request or the client. So I'm guessing now we can just any API endpoint we request, we can just pop right. So that's them making. What URL did I actually just call? OAuth 2 token. Yeah, get tokens. OAuth 2. So that's authorized rather than token. So this is auth. Here's the token. So this is what we just did. Great. Okay. But they don't have any scopes in there either. Yeah, definitely my lack of knowledge with OAuth, I think. So I think we now have a token that we can put on requests going through. So presumably there's a wrapper somewhere around the requests that go out that chuck that header on the top. Include Twitch request. That is request. Put the query. And in the headers, they have client ID. Okay, great. So then we can make a new thing. So if you, oh, I wonder if I can make this bigger. Oh, you can, cool. So if you haven't used this thing, this is Postman, depending on how you want to pronounce it. And it's like a GUI, like a user interface to build requests, basically. So you could do them in terminal, or you could build them in code. You could probably do whatever you want, but this is like a helpful thing. If you are really lucky, they have this like idea of collections, and if you're integrating with a third party, what they will often do is on their, I say often, very rarely do, is provide Postman collections in their docs, and basically give you the entire API as a set of pre-made templates in Postman, and you can then just put your credentials in, and it will automatically basically give you a playground for the API. So super helpful when they do that. Even if they don't, you can just basically, each little tab is like a request, and you can say, well, I want to make a request of this type. And you can then put in anything you need. Like there's like a little visual thing for each section of what you can do with your request. And then you send the request, and then it'll show you the body back. So just a helpful visual interface. If you've seen like the examples in the docs are curl or something like that, you might be like, oh, actually, I don't particularly enjoy working in the terminal all the time. So I like a nice user interface. So we've got a header here. So what I'm doing is basically building the same thing. So like we're going to make a GET request. Fine, it's a GET request. There's going to be a URL that's going to go in here, and there are going to be headers, and the header is client-ID, and then there's going to be client ID, and then that will go in there, which I'm assuming is my token or not. Oh, hang on, I just assumed it was, but I didn't check that. I didn't know if that's the case. Okay, let's try that. Let's see if that works in any way, shape, or form. Again, my lack of OAuth knowledge is probably hamstringing me here. Okay, so can we now do a GET request for... I actually don't know what we want. What do we want? We want videos from this stream. Let's do that. So we're going to do... What's Kraken? One's the base URL, and one's the alt base URL, and one /API seems more reasonable. I don't know what Kraken is. Okay. Base URLs, okay. So when do you actually call that? Okay, yeah, definitely getting stung by my lack of knowledge of OAuth here. Okay, well, let's just keep going. So let's see. Okay, well, let's see in the reference what we can poke at. API reference here. So let's go get a channel, I guess. Like, do we have get channel information? Valid user token or app access token. Okay, so I think we have that. So let's make this our URL, and then required career parameter broadcaster ID. And so again, we can type it in there in this box here, or we can actually go to params and do it here. So this is like broadcast ID, and it's just a user interface to build the path here. Like you're not doing anything different, and it lets you jump between them. So if we do equals test, like you can see it's writing it down below. So I find that a really helpful way to know like what's going on. I really like tools like that where it's like showing you how things go. ID of the channel to be updated. So I'm guessing the Sunday Club channel is just called. Oh, in my drive for secrecy, I moved it onto the other channel. I can just pull it back now because the secret's already on the stupid thing. So I'm assuming that let's log me out again. Okay, that's an interesting. Okay, now it's fully logged me out. Last time it just. Wait, hang on. I'm going to move it over and just log back in over here. I have to authorize again? Why does it keep kicking me out? That's weird. So I got my application. What's my channel ID? I'm guessing. Oh, is this because I'm on dev.twitch.com? Okay. So let's just go to twitch.tv and then we can go to. I'm looking to see if there's an ID that's different from just like Sunday_club or something. So channel. That's me. And is there like an admin error? Let's just try this. Let's just see what returns when we do that. I'm going to hide that because it's weird seeing myself. Okay. Has Postman gone? Great. Send. Oh, the token is missing. Okay, so we actually do have to do the full. So the token, we then have to make the next request with the token to get our thingamajiggy back. Yeah, definitely getting stung by my lack of auth. Okay, so let's go back to the docs for that. So with our token, we have to do the next step. Is that right? And last time I think I did anything around this, I had found this cool website which was like a little like comic book. Oh, okay. Is that the kind of token it's talking about? Do we have to put that in the header? Rather than client ID? No, okay. Client ID and no auth token do not match. Okay, because we have to go and get the thingy first. Okay, so this is totally my lack of auth. Okay, so this has become a stream more about OAuth than about Twitch, which is not my intended sending. Access tokens. So I'm assuming this isn't a case of just the thing expiring. I'm assuming I have to use this token to get. Yeah, okay, so I think I have to. Oh, I don't really want to. Am I about to Google like how to do OAuth stuff? Where are we up to on the stream? Oh no, we're already over an hour. I don't want to use the rest of my life. If anyone has any bright ideas on the stream, that'd be super useful. Like, otherwise we're totally Googling that. Okay, so you go. I just can't remember the order that it happens in. Okay, so I feel like OIDC should have a certain degree of the multi-year course. Just a mad respect for all of the developers who actually provide the stuff that I usually use for all this stuff, like gems that abstract all this stuff away. Because it means I don't have to worry about it. Okay, right. So do I then have to... Okay, so then we can pass this. Right, okay, so we've got a token. I'm assuming we then pass... I'm just making some of this stuff up now. Oh, I'm assuming... What does the -h argument do in curl? Oh, that won't work because it's going to do a minus Google. It takes a single parameter of an extra header to include the request. Okay, so it's just adding an extra header. Okay, cool. So I think we can just do that in, we can stick in Postman. So we can say, we're going to go to there with an authorization header. And it's going to have OAuth and then our token. Again, kind of not looking it up, which I should probably be doing. And one space there. Yeah. Okay, now we have a client ID, and that's where our client ID can come from. Did it have something in front of it? Oh, well, token is missing. Okay, well, we're getting there. So we now have the client ID. No, that's just returning us the thing we already had. We already had our client ID in our original request. So when validating each of your requests, submit a request to the validation endpoint with your OAuth token in that. Okay, so that's an access token, not an OAuth token? Okay, we're going to have to Google the OAuth flow. Something like comic was what I looked at last time. It was really good. And then let's try to go to OAuth and OpenID Connect. Okay, is this what I was looking at before? Because I just need the name. Have you managed to make the request? No, because I'm an idiot and don't know how OAuth works. So I've got essentially nowhere. So now that we have some of the OAuth 2 vocabulary handling. Okay, so I think I've got all of these things. I've got auth server, resource server. Okay, that's just our server. Redirect URI. Yep, response up fine. I don't know what the scope I'm looking for is. Right, I think that's what I've got. I think I have got... Oh no, I've got an access token. The key the client will use to communicate with the resource server. This is like a badge or key card that gives the client permission to request data or perform actions with the resource server on your behalf. So that is all I need, which is the access token. Oh yeah, we're really in it now. Got that stuff. Okay, so done that. Client ID, redirect your own response. Go type authorization server. I don't even know if I'm reading the right stuff. Authorization code, client ID, secret, and access token. Okay, so we have an access token back. So we're at this part. Authorization code, client ID, and client secret. We don't have an authorization code in there. And then we get back our access token. Pass our access token to get our context. So it is the access token is all that we're looking for. But this thing says that we are the error we got back was OAuth token is missing. Oh, wait. I'm not just passing it like in as the wrong... wait. Did the client ID also have like... When you finally pass it... Yeah, it's your OAuth token, not your access token. Oh no, here we go. Oh my god, does it have to have bearer in front of it? Is that what's missing? No. You should be able to change the token type in the auth tab in Postman. Oh, okay. So that is presumably just changing the in here. So in here it is bearer access token, and then we can get a new access token. This one, go over to here and say it's a bearer. Client ID and auth token do not match. I'm just really aware that I'm probably not asking the right question here. Oh, okay. What does... Here we go. There's all the stuff built into Postman. This looks like it might make life potentially easier. Get new access token. Token name. That's good. Okay, so this is going to do all the stuff. I think it's going to do the thing we're already doing. This is kind of cool. So what's the other option that it gives us? So in here, oh yeah, I definitely don't know enough about what I'm asking here. And I feel like I would spend ages reading about what I'm supposed to be asking for. But everything in here is what we've already sent in our initial request, right? Like that's client ID, client token, grant type, token type bearer. Okay, so get back a token. It's of something brings us back our client ID, okay, which we already knew. And if we try and actually make a submission with bearer token, the new one we've just got, we still get back client ID and auth ID token do not match. But do we have to? Yeah, I don't think. So in this one, they're passing the token and the client ID as both as params. Is that that's the OAuth token? This is kind of where I'm getting a bit lost. What's the difference? The OAuth token there, and it says OAuth access token. Is my OAuth token the same as my access token? Does anyone know if am I conflating those two terms? User access tokens and app access tokens are both bearer tokens. Bearer comes from the validation header. User access. Okay. So I have an app access token. Okay, authenticate your app and allow it to access resources. Since app access tokens are not authenticated with the user, they cannot be used with endpoints that require user authentication. Is that the issue, that I'm only able to access certain endpoints? App access tokens require up to 6 days. See validate request if you're taking. If you're in client code, okay, so validate request. And validating each of your requests, submit request to the validation endpoint, validate with your OAuth token in the header. Again, it says OAuth token. Is that the same as an access token? I don't know. So /validate, that's this one, with your OAuth token in the header. OAuth token in the header. And that's validation is one. If you're authenticated, the response includes the status of your own token. This Successful response indicates that your access token is valid. Okay, so I am getting a successful response there. Okay, so I think I'm doing that. Great. Here is a sample response. Okay. I don't have a user ID in it, but because it's just an app. Okay. Because it's just an app token. So is it just the endpoint that I'm trying to access with it is wrong? Apologies. This one, I don't know how interesting this is for anyone, but let's I think the OAuth is not the same, but I also have no idea how the post gets both the OAuth. Yeah, I think the OAuth is not the same as well, but I also have no idea how the post gets both the OAuth and the auth token. Okay, well, I really appreciate you've been absolutely star today, because I really appreciate also that I'm not just missing something incredibly obvious. I am also aware of every time I've been around this world, essentially finding the answer to the specific problem I have and then moving on with my life, and never trying to remember anything. It's extensions and block specified user on behalf of the authenticated user. So we can't do anything with users, I'm guessing. I'm just wondering if we have like right, okay, so get all stream tags. There's nothing in here that's authentication app access token. Okay, so this might be all we, so let's try this. Maybe it's a case where we, maybe it's the URLs we're trying to get. Nope. Oh, hang on, well, my token probably changed there. No, it didn't. It's the same one. So do we put the client ID in as a param on that? Or even as a header? Because that was added on the previous ones. Oh shit, that totally works. Oh, okay. Did I just miss the doc where that was included? Okay, so that worked. Let's see if our other one worked now. Oh, what a fucking anticlimax that. Right, can we do other stuff now? Let's presume now hopefully we can do anything with app access token. So how many of those are there? Extensions, transactions, get channel information, app access token. Okay, great. So can we get the channels and then the broadcaster ID? Oh god, we're all the way back where we started, and hopefully this can now be Sunday Club. Sorry, I sound really frustrated now. That was just Okay, so we've got an internal server error as the response. What is happening now? Yeah, but it wasn't. I got the fact that it was missing one, but the docs indicated we didn't need it. Like in the doc just said just pass the token. It didn't say pass the token and the client ID, because you can pass the token to the validate and get the client ID back. Yeah, at least yeah. Right side. You're right. Okay, so now we've got the 500. So we question mark. Genuinely, we're getting a 500 error. I don't know what to do about that. There's no error. There's nothing. Is that the broadcaster ID being wrong? So ID of channel to be updated, but that's a get. Okay. Twitch uses the ID. Let's get another Twitch channel. Maybe we're getting 500 because we like don't allow. Let's just try any other Twitch channel. Oh no, that's Twitter. That's a different website altogether. Okay. Maybe ID isn't into something. Oh, okay. Okay, that was what I was kind of looking for earlier when we went to the channel here. And you go. Oh, this is Inception. Okay, the chat is in the, oh my God, I'm freaking out. Right, how do I get to like an admin area or something like that? Settings. Username, display name. What is that? That's freaking me out. Connections? Oh, sorry, was that going back one? Connections? I'm just get Twitch channel ID. How do I get channel ID? User has the ID of the channel. Once you have the user ID, you can then follow the account from the people. Okay. Once you have the user ID, maybe I need the channel ID, but I don't know how to get that. Once you have the user ID, you can get the follow count from the appropriate ID. Okay, I'm second post as an API reference. This one here. Okay. Does this go back to the original thing that we read in the docs, which was that the channel and the user have been the models were so specific that they merged a bunch of stuff. So a channel and a user have. Oh, I could have done the authorization bearer. Put it in there. Okay. So I'm hoping because we've got an app access token, we don't need user read email. Oh, no, we don't want the email address. Okay, so ID is a string. Oh, no. Wait, required per. So it's just going to bring back some users? Broadcaster ID is definitely an integer. Okay, cool. Client ID. Oh, damn it, I missed client ID off again. Client ID. Don't know how to get. Yeah. You guys are like so helpful. This is so helpful. Like having everyone help out with this because it's really not straightforward. Client ID and OAuth token do not match. Oh, I sent it as a param, not as a header. Sorry. Does that not? Yeah, I'm just going to do them both as a. Oh, I think you can actually clone. I think you can duplicate tab. I should have done that. So I can close that one. Don't save. So then I can just change. No. Just change this. Let's prevent ID, login, or OAuth token. This one says you can have app access token required. One or more specified users. How are these optional then? So ID. Let's provide an ID. Params. ID. String. So like this. Must provide an ID, login, or OAuth token. Next users. Given it the authorization we had before. API reference get streams. Get streams after and before. User ID is a string. Return stream by one or more user IDs. You can specify up to 100 user IDs. Okay, so I'm gonna try this one. Oh, wait. Look at the examples request on the right. Oh, wow. Okay. I totally, totally missed that. Okay. That's super helpful. So get streams. Let's get stream markers. Let's get streams guns. Authorization bearer, client ID. Okay. Oh, it was there. That's the one when you were saying it was in the docs all the time. Oh, it's totally there. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, it was 100% there. It was 100% there the whole time. Yeah, we totally missed it. Okay, so, but we're now getting stuff back. Okay, this is amazing. So we're now getting stuff back. And this is a list of streams, just a raw list of streams by the looks of things. Can I just make that bigger? Okay, so what do we get? Just the current list. And so we can then say after, before, so user ID. The 20 most active. Don't know how to get yours. Okay, so I think we can then say user ID as a param. Like this. Okay, it's not an error, so I like that. But we think that my user ID and my channel, what's it? Broadcaster ID is definitely an integer. That was from earlier. Okay, but my user ID is... Okay, how do I get my user ID? Users are identified by an optional user ID and or login name. If neither a user ID nor login name is users login string. Oh, maybe it's... Oh, can I get the user by the login? So my login is Sunday Club. That's like what I type in, or what 1Password types in. So can I... Okay, we end up with 15,000 Postman tabs. So can we do this... as the URL and pass it login instead of user ID. And then we got an ID somehow. Oh my God, it's all coming together right at the last minute. This is amazing. User ID is that. Oh my God, it's happening. It's, oh my God, it's happening. That was the longest way around for an API response that a group of people have ever done. I appreciate all the hard work that went into that. Let's integrate with the Twitch via API. That's happening right now. Type live, and is live should be true or something like that. Is mature false? Oh, okay. That's a whole other area of Twitch we don't want to delve into. Right. Okay. Right. We've been here so long. We're gonna wrap this up. It's an hour and a half. Next week we're gonna carry on, and we're gonna do some actual Rails work with this stuff. We've done a phenomenal amount of I repeat, Amazon-owned documentation. This is. I know I refer to Stripe a lot, and they do get a lot of shit now because they're not as good as they... I think it's really difficult now because Stripe, I think, was a benchmark for docs for so long. But then the change in the way that the Charge API worked, because the docs used to be like, hey, want to make some money, here's a token, use the token, tell us how much money you're going to charge this person, great, go. And then all this new fancy payment intent and all this other stuff happened. But the idea of providing like a use case next to the doc is so helpful. Like, just like, as I was saying, like you have a shop, you want to do a thing, you know, sell a product or whatever it is. And this is the example that they give. And they did one when they introduced the payment intents API. There were a couple of use cases that were so helpful to me on building that integration. And so just throwing people in, as we have all just jumped in, and we're all super smart people, I'm saying we all are, and like, you know, we're having to do this work. We got there in the end, but it's just like, oh, kind of throw us some help to start with. Like, just give us some extra help. And again, huge respect and thank you to all of the gems that exist when you want to grab. I have no doubt the YouTube one was just as painful, but because we had a gem that helped us do it, we just typed in, you know, here's the basic thing we need, and the gem just took care of it. So kind of surprised there wasn't one for Twitch. Maybe that's like a and there's no one from Twitch. Maybe this just isn't a thing that people do. I like it when docs answer basic questions. When I Google get Twitch broadcast ID, I want an answer easily, which you would think would be a thing. Also, I'm going to wrap this up, but like, it's just interesting to go back to that concept of I couldn't find that note in the docs later on, but like when they mentioned data models here, our philosophy for responses is to remove extraneous data, return consistent structures, and simplify responses to a single layer. When simplifying the data models, we observed a lot of overlap between users and channels objects. As a result, we combined them into the user object. Like, this is a really interesting idea of like those design decisions affecting how easy it is to integrate, and the mental model that we then have to take on. Like, we had to go and find a user we had to go and get this user ID to then go and get the streams for a channel, which is in fact a user, and things like that. But everything has this idea of channel. So I think I've kind of referred to this all the time, which is like, I really like having a good mental model of what I'm trying to work on, and until I have that, I find it really hard. When we did the turbo streams one, like the first one was a total failure because I just couldn't picture what we were trying to do in my head. And the API design at the other end is so, if you just can't quite work with it, you find yourself with so much friction all the time. And then as soon as it clicks, you're like, oh, okay, that's that, and everything's a user. Okay, cool. There isn't this guide idea of videos and things like that. Amazing. Right, I'm going to wrap this up basically. So just to recap right at the end, in case anyone was trying to follow along with what actually happened. So I'm gonna have to go and delete that client secret, which is fine, like whatever. So if you remember, what we actually did is that we had to go and get a token, and for that we needed the client ID and the client secret. So this was unlike the YouTube one, which has provided us a dashboard. We actually had to go into a little dev.twitch TV domain and register an application. The application itself then has the thing it needs. I suppose it is a separate dashboard, but it's on the same domain. You get a client ID and a secret. We then pass those to this OAuth 2 token, and we've got our token back. I'm going to go remove them after this. I'm just going to do the same thing next week. We'll just rebuild it. So we passed our client ID and our client secret, and the grant type that was actually in the docs and saying, like, go and get me some credentials, and we got this token back. So then basically, if we wanted to do something on behalf of the user, so this is our app token. Wow, all the terminology got mixed up. So this is not an OAuth user token. What we have is an app token, I think, or whatever, app access token. So a user token, I think, would requiring us then going through another flow where we signed in as a user. So this is exactly what we had on the YouTube side, where our API access on YouTube will only allow us to access publicly accessible things. But if we want to do something to someone's account, like change the video description or something like that, we would need to go through that extra OAuth flow. Now that was available in the gem we were using, I think. Here, I guess we'd have to build our own. And we're doing this in Postman here, just by making these requests. But what we looked in that gem is that it's basically doing the same thing for us, of doing that auth. And you would have to do this if you wrote the code yourself. You would have to make this request and you go and get a token. You then see that the token will expire, and there is another API endpoint where you can validate. It will check whether your token is still valid or not and tell it when it expires. And then there is another endpoint where you can then refresh that token and get yourself a new one. We just kept posting to this one and go and do all that stuff. Once we had that, we could then, any endpoint that has this, that can be used with an app access token, we could then access. We struggled a little bit because we were missing the client ID as one of the headers. We had the authorization, but not the client ID. I don't know why we were getting 500 back from this one. Never found that out. I think it's that this isn't an integer. So if we were to do this, presumably we would get a different. Oh, cool! It's totally a real person. So we need to find out how. Next week we're going to find out how to get our broadcaster ID. That seems, I don't really understand what's happening there. Once we had figured all that stuff out, we had our token. We then went to get our login. So we had users, and a login is the string that you log in with. We did a get with that, which brought us back our user object. That then, I know, I just thought I was going to get an error. Well done to Alex for getting a very cool broadcaster ID. Alex, I don't know how to pronounce that, 99. And we then passed this API endpoint our login. It brought us back as our user object. That gave us our user ID. And then we could request our user ID and bring back the state of our user. So we could then have the stream that we're running right now, the stream that we're watching is let's integrate with Twitch via API, and all the stuff started at and live and all those other things. Next week, we're going to try and work out how to do this, like what we can save maybe, what can we get with this. If people are really interested in more OAuth stuff, I don't know. I mean, I probably should be for my career and skills and stuff, but to be honest, I get confused every time, so just Google it. Maybe we could do that, or maybe we could see what we can download and store it alongside our we have like a YouTube video downloader service thing on the app. Maybe we build a Twitch version of that. Okay, this could be cool. Maybe we don't do any of that, and we see if we can use like stimulus to make the request to see if the channel is live, and just use that simple embedded version we had before. So we can say, well, when the page loads, show nothing, do a background request via stimulus, check if the channel is live or not, and if it is, then just embed the player thingy, and then if it's not, don't do anything. That could be a cool experiment for next week. Cool. Let's wrap that up. Thank you. Thank you so much to everyone in chat. You've been so incredibly helpful. Hopefully this was interesting and useful, and you learned something. I learned so much. Let's be realistic, I'm probably going to forget it all in 10 minutes, but it was super useful. Thank you to everyone who watches this later on. Have a wonderful week, and see you all next Sunday, 10:30 a.m. UK time, or you can watch these anytime on YouTube, and have a great week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.